All right, let's jump right in. We're going to pull back the curtain on something you probably use every single day, but maybe don't think about the powerful, complex, and kind of invisible information systems that run our world. They are the digital backbone of, well, pretty much everything. I want to start with just one number. Take a look at this. That's $5 trillion with a T. That's the estimated global spending on IT for 2024. I mean, it's a number so massive, it's kind of hard to even wrap your head around it. So that immediately begs the question, right? Why on earth are companies pouring that much cash into technology? It's definitely not just to get everyone a shiny new laptop. No, there's a much deeper, more strategic reason, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack. So let's get right to it and try to answer that trillion-dollar question. What is the real why behind this absolutely colossal investment? First off, you gotta know this isn't some new fad or a one-time spending spree. It's a steady, growing trend. As this chart shows, for years now, the majority of chief information officers, the top tech bosses, have seen their budgets go up, not down. This is a sustained, strategic game plan. And if you want to see where the spending is most critical, just look at the breakdown by industry. Who's at the top of the list? Banking and technology. Now think about it. What do they sell? Not cars, not clothes. They deal in pure information. For them, these systems aren't just helpful tools. They literally are the business. And that brings us to the most crucial point. We have to completely change our perspective here. This isn't just a cost, like paying the rent or keeping the lights on. This is an investment. And just like any other investment, businesses absolutely expect a major return. Okay, so to understand that return, we need to look at the raw materials these systems actually work with. It's all about a journey, a transformation that turns simple, useless facts into truly valuable knowledge. Let's see how that works. It all begins with data. And data, by itself, is, well, it's kind of useless. It's just raw facts floating around with no context. 45 degrees Celsius. So what? Is that a hot day? A patient's fever? The temperature of an oven? Without context, it's just meaningless noise. Then comes the first big step. We add context. We organize that raw data, and suddenly it becomes information. Now it's not just 45 degrees Celsius, it's the patient's temperature is 45 degrees Celsius. Ah, okay, now we're getting somewhere. It's not just noise anymore, it actually answers a question. But here's the final and most valuable step, knowledge. This is where a person, with all their experience and judgment, takes that information and actually does something with it. A doctor sees that temperature, combines it with their medical training, and diagnoses the patient. That decision, that action, that's where the real value gets created. This whole process is visualized perfectly in this classic pyramid. Now, the labels here are in French, but the idea is super clear. You start at the wide bottom with a massive pile of données. That's our raw data. And you climb your way up through information to connaissance, which is knowledge. That journey up the pyramid is the core job of any information system. So how do you actually build a system that can do all that? Well, the most important thing to realize is that an information system is way, way more than just a bunch of computers. It's actually built on 4 essential pillars. Here they are: technology, process, people, and structure. And the key word here is interdependent. Seriously, think of it like a chair with 4 legs. What happens if one of them is wobbly or just breaks off? The whole thing comes crashing down. It's exactly the same here. If one pillar is weak, the entire system can fail. And let's be crystal clear about this. Technology is not the system. It's the foundation for short. It's the engine. It's all the hardware, software, and networks that make everything else possible. But it's only one piece of the puzzle. Because the real lifeblood of the system, it's the people and the processes they follow. Take a super simple example. A grocery manager restocking inventory. First, someone has to physically check the shelves. Then they call suppliers to get prices. Then they compare those prices. That's all people and process. Only at the very end does the technology come in to actually place the order. You could have the world's greatest ordering software, but it's totally useless if no one is following the process. Okay, so now we know what an information system is made of, but what's it really for? What's the whole point? Well, it all boils down to improving 2 very important and very different concepts: efficiency and effectiveness. These 2 words sound alike, but they mean completely different things. Efficiency is all about doing things right. It's about being fast, being cheap, and not wasting anything.
Effectiveness, on the other hand, is about doing the right things. It's about making sure you're working on the right goals in the first place. You can be incredibly efficient at a task that is completely pointless.
Here's a really easy way to remember the difference. Efficiency is like picking the absolute best light bulb, a bright LED that uses almost no electricity. That's doing things right. But effectiveness is making sure you install that amazing light bulb in the room you actually need to see in and not in a storage closet you never open. That's doing the right things. A truly great information system helps you do both. All right, for this last part, I want to leave you with a really powerful way to think about how these systems need to grow over time. It's a concept called urbanization. I want you to picture a small, quiet village. Just a few houses, a couple of dirt roads. It's simple. Now imagine that village exploding into a giant, bustling metropolis. Suddenly, you can't just build roads anywhere. You need highways, a power grid, zoning laws, a master plan. An information system is exactly the same. It can start simple, but as it grows, it needs a plan, or it just becomes chaos. And that's what urbanization is. It's that master plan. It's about organizing the whole system into logical layers, or couches, as this diagram calls them. You see how everything flows from the high-level strategy at the top, down through the business functions, the applications, and finally to the technical nuts and bolts at the bottom. And this diagram, this is the blueprint for making change happen. It clearly maps out the entire journey. On the left, you have the initial state. That's where the system is today. On the right, you have the target state. That's the future you're trying to build. This provides the actual roadmap to get from here to there in a smart, intentional way. So why go through all this trouble? Why urbanize your systems? Well, the goals are pretty clear. It's how you manage growth and complexity without everything falling apart. It's how you adapt to new challenges. It's how you get the entire company aligned and pulling in the same direction. And ultimately, it's how you stay competitive. In the end, every single organization is a city built of information. Its systems are its roads, its power grid, its communication network. So the real question to leave you with is this. Is it a sprawling, chaotic mess with traffic jams everywhere, or is it a well-planned, thriving metropolis built for the future? What does your city look like?